Hello, instructional designers. It's Ethan Edwards here with another installment of the Roving Instructional Designer for e-learning. I'm looking about the world around me to see inspirations for how we can do a better job of creating engaging and memorable instruction. Today I'm at the Missouri Botanical Garden, which is one of the most wonderful botanical gardens in the country. It's one of the oldest, actually. It was called Shaw's Garden when I was a kid. But we're enjoying the roses and the different flowers. But I found myself in a very special part of the garden, which is called the sensory garden. What they did is they wanted to create a garden experience that was rich, like other garden experiences, but taking into account that people come to the garden to explore it who may not be fully capable to use all their senses. So what they've done is created an experience that makes use of sound. There's these chimes. There's raised beds so that if you are in a wheelchair, you can be experiencing things at your level without having to be excluded. They've particularly found plants that are interesting. This grass feels just like silk, and you're encouraged to play with it. And then there's things that have really wonderful odors. For instance, there's some special basil here, and if you rub it, the whole air becomes permeated, and you can experience the beauty of a place like this. Now, of course, this brings to mind the issue of accessibility that we always face when we are when we're designing e-learning, especially in conditions where that is a requirement. I think that's probably one of the hardest challenges that there is when we talk about designing e-learning, is how do you create things that are equally engaging when you may have differential ability to use your eyes or use your ears. Oh, and here's lambs here. That if you haven't ever felt lambs here, you need to go and find it. It is just the softest thing to touch this and feel its fuzziness. But what I think we can take inspiration from here is that they did not fall in the trap that we often fall into as e-learning designers. And that is, we make an experience we think is normal, that is for the mainstream. And then we try to patch it in ways that would require a person with different abilities to try to conform to that experience. And it never can work. If you have designed an experience that is generally a visual experience, and then you try to create an experience for someone who is not able to see, and you describe it, it doesn't create anything of what the real experience is. And what we see here is that these gardeners really took the viewer, or in parallel to our case, the learner, into consideration to decide what should the fundamental experience be like. It wasn't, let's make a garden and then try to tweak it so that someone can enjoy it. Let's think of the learner's perspective, see how they perceive the world, and let's create a garden that responds to that. So looking from that learner's point of view, they can have ridiculously rich experiences using their fingers in a way that other people aren't accustomed to. And yet we need to create an opportunity and an environment for them to do that, in which we can create that engagement that everyone deserves. Now, I know this probably is a dream that people will say, well, you don't have the time nor the money to do that. Well, it is certainly true that developing more intricate and more customized approaches will require more time. But I think it comes down to the question is, why are we doing this? Do we really care about creating learning experiences that people of all abilities will grow from and change from, just as we expect everyone to? And so terribly frustrating to me the way we sort of play lip service to the idea of creating accessible training simply by bandaging it with text over or duplicate narration, when we really need to think what would make this experience as exciting for every possible learner as it could be. And that, like everything, needs to be learner-centered rather than content-centered. It's starting with the learner. What do they know? What can they experience? And create something that is going to speak to them and relate to them, and creating a memorable, lasting, meaningful learning experience. So I'm going to continue enjoying the beauty of this place, but I hope this is thought-provoking, and I hope if you ever are in St. Louis, Missouri, that you come to visit this sensory garden, but also the rest of this wonderful, wonderful place. Okay, until next time, this is Ethan Edwards signing off. Bye.